Welcome to that 80s show. Dori, how are you this week as we head back to the 1980s?
I am so good because I have got the best multimedia today.
Best multimedia.
And I'm still in a good mood from watching it. Ooh. I'm so excited to tell you about it.
Ooh, that's very tease-worthy. It's tease-worthy.
Yeah.
That sort of tease, that sort of run-up is the reason that in the whole wide world of 80s podcasts, we are in the top 10.
Really?
We are in the top 10 of 80s podcasts.
How many are there out
which
there?
Makes us number one in South Africa, because there's no other 80s podcast on that list in South Africa.
Brilliant.
There's at least 60.
Huh.
That's
a lot.
Number nine, that's who we are. This is that 80s show. So if you know how I discovered that?
Do tell.
So, I check charts. We like charts. The 1980s, we like charts. And I check our rankings, and cousin Louis was telling me he's been listening to another 80s podcast.
Oh, the traitor.
But a very factual one.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
The name escapes me now. It's pretty good, but it's very factual. He talks about stuff in the 80s.
Yes.
Guess.
Is it like a history podcast?
It is, but it's done in a cool way, but it's not funny like ours.
No.
Which is why he's below us in the rankings.
Right.
Yeah. So, Know Your Place, other podcast whose name I don't even...
Even if you could remember, would you say it?
No.
Exactly.
No, I would. It's a pretty good podcast. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, we are your favorite 1980s podcast. And Dori, it's interesting that you mention your multimedia choice, because last week you spoke about the podcast about the place in Denmark.
Yes.
Called Sodom and Gomorrah / Christiania, which is a very, normally when you hear about these, so it's a podcast about a place which was kind of like a hippie commune, started out, I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Normally when you hear about those places, there's an element of it where you go, oh, that could be nice, and then invariably it goes shit.
Right.
That place just sounded terrible.
No, I think in the beginning it was probably kind of cool. And then it got terrible very quickly.
Well, what you didn't tell me,
yes.
Dori, so you did mention biker gangs who came in.
Yes.
To take over the drug trade. You didn't tell me the names of the biker gangs.
No, I did not.
Okay, so there was an amalgamation, a merger of two biker gangs because the Hells Angels were expanding into Scandinavia. And the existing biker gangs were going, we can't let the Hells Angels come in here. So it was a biker gang called the Filthy Few.
Okay.
And Nora Gazaminden Banden. Okay.
Right.
Which is just not punch. Imagine how that looks on the back of a biker vest.
Very unreadable.
I mean, these biker vests don't have sleeves. You're going to need to put your arms out.
It's going to be on various lines.
Yeah, no, that name's too long. So they made a new biker gang called the BMS, the Bullshit Motorcycle Club.
Okay.
And they took out the Hells Angels. But, you spoke about the drug wars. In 1987, police found the dismembered body of a man under the floorboards of a bullshitter bike shop inside Christiania. The bullshitters were broken up and cleared from the area, following a combined response from the community, the police, and reprisals from the Hells Angels themselves. And from that point on, biker jackets and biker gangs were banned from the Freetown.
Not so Freetown.
No, that's not. That's like anti. Like we're supposed to be how do you ban shit?
You see, the idea...
So anyway, you didn't tell me about the Bullshit Motorcycle Club.
I'm sorry. It might have even been mentioned in the podcast, but it probably slipped my mind. It didn't have an impact on me the way it's clearly had on you.
Yeah, the Bullshit Motorcycle.
I know, it's funny.
What a catchy name. Catchy name.
It's so funny because, they had such good intentions. Like, you go, we don't need authority. We don't need laws. We can govern ourselves. And it just shows that humans are shit and they can't.
True story. So a person who very much wasn't shit, and we were actually very shitty towards her in the 1980s, Princess Diana.
Were we?
We were horrible to her.
Who's we? I wasn't.
Everybody who bought a You magazine or Huisgenoot was horrible to her because you didn't buy it to find out what lovely thing she's doing. You bought it to gawp at her, right? We did. We were terrible to her, and only Elton John made us realize what dicks we were to Princess Diana. And of course, she was tabloid fodder. It was open season on Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Absolutely open season.
Yeah.
Meghan thinks she's got it bad now. Princess Diana, that was free for all. 1980s tabloids. And she was often linked with so many different men, even though she was married, there was always rumors of dalliances, or she was very flirty and very friendly and very not British, I suppose. And there was I remember a big story of when she danced with John Travolta. Do you remember that story?
No.
At a U.S. gala dinner at the White House.
I do not remember that.
Yes. No. There was like a massive dinner at the White House. Ronald Reagan was president and everyone was there. And John Travolta was big in the 80s. And he took Princess Diana on the dance floor, showed all the moves. And people were like, wow, she's dancing with John Travolta, the people's princess.
I thought you were calling John Travolta the People's Princess.
I didn't specify. I did not call him the People's Princess. And since we subsequently found out about how much he does like a massage, that adds a whole different. Now we ask, look who's talking. There was rumors of they tried to link her to Tom Selleck because they were at an event once, and he was wearing leather pants.
Of course,
which she made a comment about it. They did try to link her to George Michael.
Just the hair.
That's the thing. I mean, if you saw Princess Diana and George Michael talking to each other, you're going to be like, ooh, what are they? Ooh, that's George Michael. It's like, they're definitely just exchanging hairdressers. They're definitely, I mean, maybe
hair products.
Because they had exactly the same hairstyle.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there was nothing there. She was huge friends with Elton John. Sylvester Stallone. He linked himself to Princess Diana. Said he was like cock of the walk. And he walked up to her and said, hey, I'm Rocky. She's like, I'm a princess. Fuck off.
Yeah.
But one person she was never linked with, David Bowie, until pictures emerged this week, 40 years later, Dori.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Ooh, well, if you want to see this, that 80 Show essay on Facebook, or just check the show notes. A photo taken in 1987 has only recently emerged of Princess Diana with David Bowie.
What kind of photo?
It was taken at his Wembley Stadium concert. But the Kensington Palace squashed this photo, said that photo will never be released.
Why? What's in the photo?
David Bowie, what did you think? It's not who was in the photo, it's who wasn't in the photo. She attended the concert with Officer James Hewitt. Now, if you cast your mind back to Scandal of the People magazine, they claim that Prince Harry is not Charles's son.
Such an easy way to find out today.
It's so easy. 23andMe. It's not impossible. Ancestry.com.
Somebody just take a hair off his hairbrush and just do it.
Honestly, just hang around at a Starbucks long enough, he's going to leave a cup behind. You know what I mean? But anyway, so she was at this concert with James Hewitt, and he made sure to not be in any of the photos.
Right.
Princess Diana shows up at Wembley at a David Bowie concert. People are going to fucking lose their minds. So he's like, I got to make sure I'm not around. And the Kensington Palace, I keep wanting to call them the Kensington Palace. I suppose I want to say the palace. Kensington Palace said, we've got to get rid of this photo because people start speculate there might be a different angle. They squashed all the photos, and then it has been released after 4 decades, Dori.
Is it a cool picture?
No, it's quite shit. David Bowie looks like he really does not look like he doesn't know what's going on, which for mid-80s, not unusual.
Yeah.
It's a horrible photo. But it's...
Are they just posing? Are they smiling?
It's just a random photo. They're just standing in front of a banner wall.
So what was the controversy?
Again, who she was with. Maybe there were other angles. You see, this was the main angle. Maybe are standing in the background holding her purse, holding her crown. I don't know if she travels with her crown.
Yeah.
Hold my royal coat of many things. Manservant. Maybe he was holding that, and then, stories.
But I mean, people could have just told the tabloids, guess who she was there with?
Yeah, but who would have believed it? Everybody, us.
Yes.
Us. The empire that was You magazine was built upon these many stories of Princess Diana's love life. You know who's he's a bit of a dick?
That does not narrow it down.
No, I don't know. He's become a bit of a dick, and it upsets me. Is John Cleese.
Oh, no. Why?
Yeah, people are hating on him so much. He's big 70s, 80s fish called wonder. He doesn't help himself because he's just become a very cantankerous old British man.
I mean, no surprise there.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
He's always complaining about stuff. So he went on a massive stand-up comedy tour last year called Alimony Tour, where he said very openly, I think we spoke about it on the show at the time, I need to make money out of the show because I owe my wife £20 million in alimony. or my divorce cost me 20 million and I need to make that money up. And that was why he did the show. And like, of course he's joking, but he's also
not joking. Exactly.
Now he's claiming like absolute poverty because he's like, listen, I am surprisingly poor. He lives in hotel rooms while touring to save on rent. That's why he goes on tour, so he can stay in hotels.
Okay.
He says, I don't want to be touring at my age, but he does it so he saves on rent and saves on house expenses. But he is estimated to have a net worth of about £8 million, and he spends his money on £17,000 a year on stem cell treatments.
Okay,
hoping to maybe extend into the John Cleese afterlife. And he does a lot of afterlife research. He contributes to afterlife research, which is scientific studies into the existence of an afterlife or life on other astral planes.
Okay. Yeah. How do you research that without literally dying?
John Cleese is funding it, and claiming he's poor. And now he's blaming wokeism because he's trying to do a stage show of A Fish Called Wonder. Because, of course, they did a stage show of Spam-A-Lot, made a lot of money. So he goes, okay, let me do a Broadway or a West End show of A Fish Called Wonder.
Yeah.
But he says he has to change the whole thing because of wokeism. You know, a lot of the jokes.
I don't remember it enough.
Oh, it was very sexist. A lot of animal cruelty. Not animal cruelty. There was a lot of jokes about fish. Animals. There was... the Wonder was being objectified. Michael Palin's character was stuttering. They made a joke about that. He says, I just have to write all that out. You know what's my thing about people who complain about woke killing comedy? No, you're killing your material's old, firstly.
Yeah.
I think you can diversify. The other thing is also just fucking go for it. Just do it. Because if you make a thing about it,
and then like the bad publicity will make good publicity.
That's the thing. If you make a thing about it up front, everyone's just going to, oh, fuck you, John Cleese, you're just a stupid old man. Just do it. And the people are going to, if you knowingly go to watch A Fish Called Wonder stage show, you
know what you're doing.
You know what you're getting into.
And the thing is, it's not like offensive in inverted commas. Comedy doesn't exist anywhere.
No.
Look at Netflix. All sorts of things on there.
And they're just leaning into, you just lean into your audience. And you're going, it's John Cleese redoing A Fish Called Wonder. That's what I'm buying
Have
into.
A little speech up front going, listen, this is in for its time. If it's going to offend you, probably leave now.
Just leave. And more so, like, if you go to a John Cleese stage show like that and you get offended, that's actually on you because you're going there to be offended, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not wokeism. Just do it, John Cleese. Stop being a dick and stop ruining my childhood. Dori teased us with her multimedia recommendation. I'm going to sit back and listen to what she has to say. She's been teasing this for weeks now.
I have.
Huge anticipation here in our little time machine. Huge.
It has taken me a while to watch this, but it is worth every second. And it definitely is something that you could watch in one go if you had the time and not feel that it was too long. It's a documentary about a TV series from the 80s. I'm going to read you a little bit of the description. And I'm sure just from this description, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Because, I mean, I don't know. You and my brain, we share a place. What do Grand Theft Auto, Ferraris, designer stubble, Outrun, synthwave, retrowave, and the 1980s Renaissance have in common?
Miami Vice.
Exactly. So this is a really, really good documentary. The whole thing is on YouTube, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's called Miami Vice, Defining a Decade. And it is...
That is fucking fantastic artwork.
The artwork is something else.
It's very definitive.
So the cool thing about it is it's been put together by a video gaming company. And the whole premise is about how Miami Vice influenced so many games. Grand Theft Auto Vice City being the main one.
Listen. Grand Theft Auto, it's neither here nor there for me.
Yeah.
Until I found Vice City.
Yes.
Then I'm like, oh my God, this is just, it's basically 80s, the video game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, I'm not really into gaming. So
the Kenny Loggins radio. So in Grand Theft Auto, we've spoken about on the show, they have like fake radio stations while you're driving around.
Yeah.
And in Vice City, there is a Kenny Loggins radio station hosted by Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I wasn't like too excited about watching this documentary because I'm not into gaming. The great thing about it, the gaming part is literally the last half hour. The rest of it is all about the TV series. And it's divided into these amazing chapters. And it starts with the actual influence that Miami Vice had on television as a whole. There had never been a show like this before in terms of how it looked, how it was put together.
You don't realize it now thinking back, but
Yeah.
You're actually right. It was so different.
It
'Cause everything else was
changed television.
gritty.
Yes.
Everything was always gritty. Cop shows were New York, Chicago.
But the buddy cop show was not a new genre, but Miami Vice turned it on its head.
Yeah.
And they used a lovely phrase in the documentary called Neon Noir. It was Neon Noir.
Oh, I love that.
Hey?
There's a lot of ends to get through, but I do like that.
Yeah. And you'll know it as soon as you see that scene, and it's from the first episode of them doing the night drive. The night drive was the main thing in Miami Vice. And that song by Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, is playing. And it's almost like a music video. There's no dialogue. It's just atmospheric, and it's completely new. Now, the documentary delves into just how the whole thing even came together in the first place, the casting of the people who were in it. It's all fascinating. It's all stuff. I mean, I had a book about Miami Vice. I was obsessed with Miami Vice as a kid. It was my favorite show.
You told us about a T-shirt you had that said Miami Mice.
Oh my God. And I was reminiscing about it the other day. I wish I still had that shirt.
I love a pun.
It was such a cool shirt. And I've tried to find like a picture of it on the internet.
Yeah.
And I can't. I must recreate it maybe one day. So yes, how many times have we spoken about the 80s was very brown, very beige, etc. Miami Vice actually, in inverted commas, invented the colors that we think of as the 80s. Miami Vice was like the pastels, the
neon,
turquoise, the neon pink, that whole night thing.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing. It was a show set at night. It was based on true vice cops. I mean, not the actual characters, but they went and investigated, what do these guys do? How do they do it? And they wrote really, really intense storylines around it. And Miami Vice did 80s angst so well. And you forget how angsty that show was.
Because it looked bubblegum.
But it had so much angst.
Yeah.
And they show lots of scenes from lots of episodes in this documentary, and they like go through some of the themes that are covered. There's a lot of internal struggle, especially in Don Johnson. You know, he goes through a lot of angst is the word, literally, where these guys, and this really does happen apparently, you know, they're undercover. They don't
know who they are.
They lose their sense of self. They actually become the bad guy. So there's a lot of that. And
that was kind of like right at the start of the real cocaine drug smuggling.
Yeah.
Miami was an entranceway into it where the lifestyle just blew up.
Yeah. So this is the other thing that the documentary makes a point of, is that when they started filming in Miami was literally a shithole.
Yeah.
Complete shithole.
Listen, I'd love to see for myself. People still say, like Miami, you got your strips.
Yeah.
But a lot of Miami is shit.
Yes.
I'd love to see for myself. I don't know.
And I mean, it was particularly shit before they started filming the show.
Okay.
Because of the show, they actually improved the city.
That's amazing.
Because first of all, the show had brought budget to the city.
Yeah.
It brought tourism to the city. The production design of the show inspired architecture in the city. People built stuff based on what they saw on the TV show.
Yeah.
They created a city based on the TV show, basically. So it completely changed not only TV, but the city.
Hill Street Blues isn't doing that.
No.
I'm telling you that.
No.
St. Elsewhere is not doing that.
No other show has done this, okay? I had forgotten how much I loved the Lieutenant Castillo, played by Edward James Olmos.
Yes.
He was such an amazing character.
You kind of forget it because he was like the third in the throuple because, you know, yes, indeed.
And so they actually do quite a bit in the docu about him and about his character and about his backstory and about the struggle that he has with Sonny, played by Don Johnson. And I mean, it's almost like it's a trope, as you know, the whole,
grumpy detective.
Grumpy lieutenant with the cops and blah, blah. But there was a lot of intense relationship going on there. And man, Castillo had your back. You know, he had your back. Like, I loved him.
He's going to bust your balls in front of you, but in front of everyone else, he's your man.
Absolutely.
He backs you. I'm going to kick your ass, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
They were saying that the budget for the show is ridiculous. They basically made a movie a week. They put so much budget into each episode. Initially, it was paying off because the show was hugely popular. It exploded. It did extremely well in its first few seasons. As it got into season 4, a lot of the behind-the-scenes people changed, writers and stuff like that, and it started going a bit downhill. And that was the start of its demise, unfortunately. But
it's so weird that happens because normally TV shows, especially of that era, you'd find that the main actor was starting to outgrow the show and being attracted to Hollywood. But Don Johnson kind of never went Hollywood. He tried, but he never became. He was not a Bruce Willis or who I'm going to mention in my movie. You know, he never went next level.
Well, funnily enough, he was offered a movie role while he was doing Miami Vice. And I can't even remember which one. It was like a big one. I'm trying to think. Something that Kevin Costner ended up doing.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yes. And I can't remember exactly what it was.
Wolves.
No, it wasn't Dances with Wolves.
The Bodyguard. That's too late. But yeah, Kevin Costner and Don Johnson, they could, It might
not even have been Kevin Costner. It might have been someone else. Anyway, the point is,
their headshots
he was offered a role and he chose not to take it because he wanted to focus on Miami Vice. And he said he even accepted that he was going to be typecast as Sonny Crockett his whole life. And he was okay with that.
Yeah, listen.
He was okay with that.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And look, he has done some movie roles since then.
Yeah.
You know, he has. I get excited when I see him because it's like, oh, what a treat.
He always plays the thirst trap later dad. So the dad in his 60s. The thirst trap. He often plays that.
I loved his role in Django Unchained, where he was like the slave owner.
Okay, right.
Oh,
totally
so good.
Threw me off there. Okay,
yeah, totally not the thirst trap. Right. Although for me, he'll always be a thirst trap.
Yeah.
So
funny link in Django Unchained is that he was in that with Jamie Foxx, who was in the terrible movie.
I was getting to that. They go into the reboot of Miami Vice, starring Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, and wow. I never watched it. No. I think I maybe tried it.
Vomit.
It looks so horrendous.
It doesn't know what it is. You know, a new movie's is in the production. They're doing casting.
God!
And I really hope they do it in the style of when they redid Starsky and Hutch and 21 Jump Street, where it's like kind of like totally in love with the show, but it's a parody of the show. I don't know if you kind of like recall in your mind when they did 21 Jump Street.
Vaguely.
With Channing Tatum and...
I actually didn't watch that. I didn't watch that, but
it's funny. It's because the original shows were angsty of the time. You can't recreate, and I think that's what Miami Vice tried to do.
Yes.
With like a 2000s take in the movie, but it's like it just didn't work.
It really didn't work.
And you're thinking like two great actors. Like, of course, how could you fuck
No, but one of the worst things they did was try to make Colin Farrell look like Don Johnson with the hair.
Oh, he did have quite a...
He had like... it looked like a wig.
It was a mullety type of thing.
It was terrible.
I love Colin Farrell.
I love him usually, but it was just not nice.
Yeah, I love Colin Farrell, love Miami Vice. It just didn't work.
Yeah. But anyway, so we won't worry about that, but they do mention it in the docu. The docu covers so much stuff.
Does it cover how many people had cameos in Miami Vice?
Literally next on my list. Some I had forgotten, some I might have never even known.
There are fucking full-on subreddits about people who were on Miami Vice.
Who literally got their start on Miami Vice. I'm going to read you some names.
It's insane.
I'm going to read you some names. See how many of these...
Settle back. This is insane how many people were on.
And never mind that. I found a 10-minute long YouTube video that shows all the cameos of the famous people. I'll post it up as well. I'll post up the link to the full docu and that because...
I will post up the link to the full docu and that, but yes.
I might. But you can. And then, so that's like just incredible because you would be like, what? I can't believe... First of all, I can't believe that person was ever that young, for one thing.
Yeah. You're going to say his name, but seeing said person with hair. Go.
Okay, let's see if we get it.
Go.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about. Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Little Richard. Julia Roberts.
Friggin' Julia Roberts.
She was 16.
Yeah.
Miles Davis.
Yes.
Sheena Easton, who plays a woman who Don Johnson's character dates and ends up marrying, and I hated her so much because I was literally in love with Don Johnson.
That makes
I was
so
a teenager.
much why you hate Sheena Easton.
I do hate Sheena Easton, and now I remember why. Because Don Johnson married her in Miami Vice, but then she did die.
Oh,
So it did have a happy ending for me.
Plus side for you.
Yeah, her character did die, so that worked out. Steve Buscemi, Ben Stiller, Ed O'Neill. Is that who you're talking about?
Ed O'Neill, yes. That's the one.
Exactly who you were
Seeing
talking
Ed
about.
O'Neill with hair, because this is pre-married with children.
Never mind with hair. He was good looking.
Well, listen, here's Al Bundy. He scored 4 touchdowns in one half for Polk High.
And he married what's-her-face in Modern Family.
Yes. Sofia Vergara. What you
Yes.
do? He had, you got to say, I think there's like a whole revisionist around Peg Bundy now. You know,
Peg Bundy.
Peg Bundy, Al's wife.
Yeah.
He had 2 sitcom hotties.
Yeah.
Peg Bundy's got a thing about her.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good looking in Miami Vice. I have to say, I didn't recognize him at first.
High school football star.
Yeah. Gene Simmons
Yeah.
as the man from Kiss without his makeup on. Chris Rock, very young.
Yeah.
Helena Bonham Carter, also very young. This one I didn't remember and blew me away. Leonard Cohen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Collins. I remember that. Actually, I actually remember Phil Collins being in Miami Vice. Apart from the music.
That's so meta.
His character was so greasy
so meta,
and so
yeah.
slimy. Eartha Kitt. I can't do it. I can't do the growl. Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Glenn Fry. Also soundtrack as well.
So meta.
James Brown. Lots of musicians,
Yeah.
hey? Stanley Tucci. Barbara Streisand. Benicio del Toro. Dennis Farina. Big part in the show. And Jimmy Smits, also quite relatively bigger. That's just some of them.
No, I know.
That's not even all of them.
This, like Dori said, there's a 10-minute cut up on YouTube
Of all
the
cameos, yeah. And I'll post it, I promise. One of us will post it.
It's wild. The thing about Miami Vice is, not only the colors, but if you go to an 80s fancy dress, guaranteed one person is wearing the linen white suit, pastel t-shirt, loafers, no socks.
They talk about how it's ripped off in things like The Wedding Singer and that kind of thing. And they actually...
Friends.
Yes,
yep.
they actually show that scene. They actually show the scene. So they do in the documentary go into how it did become a parody at some point.
Which makes you forget how dark it was. Because I think when we look, all our references now are the cheesy bits.
Yes, but it was very dark.
It actually wasn't dark at all.
It was very violent.
Yeah.
There was a lot of drama, there was a storyline that I'd forgotten about Tubbs' son, who they made it look like he had died in a car explosion.
Wow.
That's dark.
That's hectic.
Little child, know. But, crime.
Crimes.
Doesn't pay.
They don't pay.
But don't pay to watch this docu. It is so good. Watch it on YouTube.
What's its name again?
Miami Vice Defining a Decade.
Dori, that is a fantastic recommendation. I look forward to watching that.
You must watch it. You will love it.
But
the other cool thing about
only watch it without socks.
Of course.
Yeah.
The other cool thing about it is that because a lot of it is like old, you know how the screen is more square, not so widescreen, right?
I love that.
So what they did was they put a background behind it.
Oh, please.
The background looks like our logo. It is literally pink palm trees.
What? Copyright. Someone's getting a cease and desist letter. Take down from that 80 show HQ. I'll get our lawyers on it from Jimmy Smuts and Corbin Bernstein Associates. So Dori, I have gone back for my movie this week into my realm of movies done by really big people before they were really big.
Yes, you mentioned Bruce Willis.
I did. It's not Bruce Willis, actually, weirdly enough, but there is a link somehow. So I was actually watching something on YouTube the other day about like 10 terrible movies from the 80s you've never seen. And my wife said, "Oh, is this for that 80s show?" I said, "No, because these shows were intentionally bad. these movies. They were gore, they were exploitation films, they were mostly Italian. They were made to be bad. That's too easy.
Necromancer?
It was that genre. Necromancer was one of the 10, right?
Of course.
So I was like, no. I got to do something better. So this movie was directed by John McTiernan. Now, John McTiernan, the movies he went to go make after this were Predator, Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, Medicine Man, Last Action Hero, and Die Hard with a Vengeance. Those are the movies he made in the 10 years after this.
Okay.
In fact, the way he did this movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger said, wow, if that man can do that with no budget, imagine what he could do with Arnie money. Arnold Schwarzenegger asked for him, John McTiernan. But this was his first movie.
All right.
Right? It was just a very bad movie. Often when you find these movies, you go, well, did they change directors? Were there fights? Were there rewrites? No, this was just nobody challenged him. It was just...
But Arnie thought it was a good movie.
Arnie loved the look, the feel, the angst, the melodrama. He just loved it. And there's no spectacular effects or anything. He just loved the feeling of it, you know? So, who am I to argue? It does have a feeling. Now, the link to Bruce Willis is Bruce Willis was a TV star. He was on Moonlighting.
Yes.
The main actor in this movie was also a TV star at the time. And he took this movie because he said, you know, as an Irish actor, he said, I'm at risk of being typecast as either an English rogue or an English gentleman, right? Which is ironic because we know him best as James Bond. It was Pierce Brosnan.
Oh.
Okay, his first starring role. He had been in other movies uncredited. This was his first. He's the headline guy. So doing Remington Steele, says, I want to do something so different.
God, I loved Remington Steele. I need to talk about Remington Steele.
You got to talk about Remington
I do.
Steele.
I will.
Now, Dori, you get Pierce Brosnan, and he's Irish, but we know him as he normally does an English accent.
Yeah.
And now Pierce Brosnan just plays Pierce Brosnan. He didn't want to be typecast as an English gentleman or English rogue, and then he goes and plays James Bond, which is like, well,
no,
both, right?
Yeah.
In this movie, he plays a French anthropologist. Now, Dori, I want you to pop on your headphones. I want you to take a listen to this French accent that he does, but just listen to how dramatic this movie is.
I was so frightened last night. You were shaking.
Very dramatic.
Very.
Did you ever have a dream and not know when it started? The old man on Nativac used to tell a tale of the dangers of traveling far. Of hunting alone, on the ice. How one might no longer know what was real. We are so very far from home, you know.
Very dramatic. Now, what the fuck are you getting Pierce Brosnan to do this French accent for? Why he accepts to do it with a French accent?
It slipped slightly into German there at one point.
It was all over the place. There's points in this movie where you don't know what he's saying. Now, they wanted Gerard Depardieu to... He was original. It makes sense. Gerard Depardieu is French, but they go, nobody knows the fuck he is. They go, this is Remington Steele.
He's better looking.
He's better looking. Beautiful beard in this. So this movie starts... I can't tell you what this movie is. I can't tell you if it's a horror, a thriller, a vampire movie. I can't.
What is it called?
Because they never define what the Nomads are. It's called Nomads.
Nomads, okay.
Movie starts with straight in the action. We're in an emergency room where you're a man screaming. Another man is talking to a doctor. Two doctors talking. I can't tell what he's saying, and I understand a little bit of French, but he won't say. He's screaming in French. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't got to do this. I can't put an IV, blah, blah, blah. And the doctor, female doctor, she goes, just relax. I'll go talk to him. So she walks in as Pierce Brosnan. He's tied to the bed. And screaming in French. Cop says, listen, we found him in the park. He was just screaming like this. We not been able to calm him down. We don't know what's going on. There's no injury, whatever. As she goes to him, he like rips his arm out of his restraints, grabs her and whispers something in her ear. And then he dies.
Oh.
Pierce Brosnan dead.
In the very beginning of the movie.
Okay, we don't care. We don't know who the fuck he is. The guy from Remington Steele died. Who gives a shit? And the doctor's like, she like looks a little bit woozy. And as she walks away, they're like, oh, crash cart and her ear and her nose is bleeding. He didn't just whisper something in her ear. He somehow transferred himself into her by his whisper, because she now starts seeing his memories. He's done something now,
Okay.
and she starts seeing his memories.
So that's how he's in the movie.
And now we start tracking how we got to this point. So he's an anthropologist. I don't think 80s filmmakers knew what a fucking anthropologist is.
No.
We've done quite a few movies where the main character is an
The
anthropologist.
lady
Yes.
anthropologist.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they knew what they did. I still don't really know what they did thanks to 80s movies.
Yes.
But he's an anthropologist, and he starts noticing a group of thugs hanging around everywhere. He sees them loitering. They're loitering at the beach. They're loitering outside houses. But he says nobody seems to is bothered by them. They're not doing anything. They're just loitering. The key nomad, the key thug, nomad number 1, played by Adam Ant.
Oh.
Yeah, he looks spectacular. Doesn't say a word, which I think is better because he's just menacing and adamanty the whole time.
Adamanty.
And Pierce Brosnan goes, I've got to document these guys, because he's an anthropologist, but he decides he's going to start taking photos of them. So he's following them around and stalking them everywhere they go. He's like, why is nobody bothered by these guys? Taking photos. He follows them to their house, their safe house, and sees them they drag a body in, and then they throw it in a dumpster. They're in the dumpster. Are they eating him? What's going on? So he shouts, what are you doing? Suddenly, for the first time, they see him, these nomads.
All right.
And now they've got to get him. Now, we don't know what we first think the nomads are just a bunch of thugs. But we start to realize that nobody can see the nomads but Pierce Brosnan. Only he can see them. Are they aliens? Are they vampires? Are they ghosts? Are they other? We don't know. That's why I say I can't say what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's no point ever defined what the fuck the nomads are.
Right.
So now it seems that only if you see them can they see you, and vice versa.
Okay.
It's never explained how he can see them, because this is the flashback now. So now he's seen them eating somebody. They're now following him around because now do they want to eat him? But they never actually come. They just there. They just he now.
They're being nomadic.
They're just being nomadic. And then he starts talking about all the stuff he discovered in anthropology about tribes moving around and never having a home and displaced, and trying somehow to explain what these nomads could be. Right. There's another woman. They're standing on the roof of a building. They're talking some shit. I don't know. He's being philosophical. Is it a dream? Is it whatever? And then we kind of like follow it through for a little bit. Then we come full circle to the nomads attack him in a park. He goes crazy, taken to hospital. Now we're at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
So now the memories seem to have gone, and now the doctor goes, fuck, who are the nomads?
Oh.
So she now goes to all the places to find the nomads.
But why?
Following them around. Because she's got to. Why did he tell me about this mission?
Yes.
So she's now got to unpack his life. Okay. Then she sees the nomads. They see her. Now they go, fuck, now we got to kill you.
Oh, it's
Again,
never ending.
Nobody knows who the nomads. Nobody knows what they're up to. Right? So shenanigans. Nothing interesting ever fucking happens in this movie.
It sounds like it.
You're just waiting. It's just very angsty.
Yes.
People hanging around in leather.
Is
People
there soundtrack?
Soundtrack shit. There's nothing really going on. There's music not even worth it. Eventually, the doctor realizes she's got to find Pierce Brosnan's wife to get her to safety, because they're going to be their next victim. Okay?
Bit of a meh.
So
plot.
She then goes and finds his wife, and then off they go. They flee to the Yukon with a baby. We don't know if it's Pierce Brosnan's baby. There's never talk. We don't know where the fuck this baby comes from.
Okay.
It's just suddenly their baby.
2 women and a baby.
2 women and a baby, and they're driving off to the Yukon, and then suddenly they say they've gotten away from the nomads, who at no point ever really attacked them.
Yeah.
They just followed them around. And then they're driving to the Yukon, and they look up, and there's one of the nomads on a motorbike driving behind them. Fade to black, movie ends. And that's it.
I would have been very upset about losing that time of my life.
Yeah, I was fucking extremely angry about it.
What made you watch it? Just because Remington Steele?
Pierce Brosnan, yeah. I was like, wow. I was listening to a podcast about the making of GoldenEye, his first
Right.
James Bond movie. And then they mentioned his terrible, they said Italian accent in Nomads, 1987's Nomads. I was like, fuck, I got to get on top of that.
Yes, of course. No, I
so
understand.
I watched it and
you regret that decision.
And you shouldn't. So
No, definitely rather watch my docu.
you really do that. The most interesting thing out of that is Adam Ant is in it.
Yeah. I think I can live without seeing that.
Yeah, no, I could have lived without seeing that as well.
Is it on YouTube?
It is on YouTube, the whole thing. That's a sign of great quality. And it's
Hey.
documentaries.
Documentaries are good.
Documentaries are always on YouTube.
Yes.
Dori, do you have time for a quick quiz?
Quick one, yes.
Quick music quiz?
Yes.
I got some opening lyrics, a lyric challenge. Let's see if you know any of these songs. While my friends, the time has come, raise the roof and have some fun. Do you know who that is?
Oh my goodness. I do in theory, but I can't think
It
right
is
now.
Lionel Richie.
Oh, All Night Long?
Yes, well done. Thinking about all our younger years. There was only you and me. We were young and wild and free. Ballady.
I know.
Schmaltzy.
I know. Brian Adams.
Yes.
Heaven.
Heaven. Say you don't know me or recognize my face. Say you don't care who goes to that kind of place. My intonation is
No, wait.
getting really sound.
It's Starship. We built the city.
Well done, Dori. We bought these lyrics.
Yes.
This is a very obvious song, but you don't know the lyrics of the song. You only know the chorus. I'm saying all the things that I know you'll like, making good conversation. I got to handle you just right. You know what I mean?
No idea.
It's the opening line of Olivia Newton-John's Physical.
Oh my
But
goodness.
the only lyrics we ever know are let's get physical, let's get
Now
physical.
that you say it, I get it. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of it.
This is the Michael Jackson one. They told him, don't you ever come around here. Don't want to see your face. You better disappear. Very quick. They told him, don't you ever come around here. Don't want to see your face. You better disappear.
It's either Billie Jean or Smooth Criminal. I don't know.
Neither of those beat it. I hear the drums echoing tonight, but you see, yeah, exactly. But you see, that's just like, oh, you know this because I think you do like the band. I walk a lonely avenue. I never thought I'd meet a girl like you. Meet a girl like you. I walk a lonely avenue. I never thought I met a girl like you. Meet a girl like you.
Is it Foreigner?
That's Flock of Seagulls.
Oh,
because
of course.
I've been waiting for a
right.
girl like you.
Right.
Traveling. The only use of this word in 80s music ever, I think. I don't think this was used in any other song. Traveling in a fried out combi on a hippie trail, head full of zombie.
That would be Madness, Land Down Under.
It's Men at Work.
I mean Men at Work.
Down Under.
Yes.
But yes, in the another band you and I have seen, Hot Summer Streets and the Pavements Are Burning, I Sit Around. Cruel Summer.
Oh, of course.
Yes, of course. All of these are, of course. Even as you take the quiz, you're going, oh, fuck, I'm so upset I didn't get that. This one, first, when there's nothing but a slow glowing dream that your fear seems to hide deep inside your mind.
Flash Dance.
Come on. Last night I had the strangest dream. I sailed away to China in a little rowboat to find you.
I know. Is it Men at Work as well?
It's,
Wait. That's not it. I can hear the song, but I can't think who it is.
Matthew Wilder, Break My Stride.
Of course. Okay.
I get up and nothing gets me down. You got it tough. I've seen the best around.
That would be Jump by Van Halen.
Well done, Dori. And ending off on a final note, we don't talk about them, him. Haven't spoken about them in a while. Tommy used to work on the docks. Union's been on strike. He's down on his luck with love.
That would be Bon Jovi.
Living on a prayer. This has been that 80 show. Everything we spoke about on the show. Not much we spoke about on the show. Shorter shows for a little while.
But I promise you, go and spend the rest of their time watching the Miami Vice docu.
You do that. You can also find the show on YouTube while you're there. No visuals. We just the audio. You can put on play.
We like to be anonymous.
We do like to be anonymous. That 80 show, Dora and I, Facebook, everything we speak about can be found there, as well as in the show notes. Dori, thanks for joining me and goodbye.
Bye.